All right. Second preseason game for the Raiders. Kirk Cousins didn't start, and so we saw Mendoza starting, and it was a bit of a tough watch. We have Klint Kubiak on deck. I want to hear how he's thinking about the quarterback position at this point. Is he worried about Mendoza? Let's get to it.
Performance tonight.
I think there's plenty to clean up, plenty to get better at. Plenty that we can do better for him as coaches, plenty that he can learn from. But what great heart that we showed in the second half. The whole team, offense, defense. I'm really proud of our guys.
I mean, this is true. The Raiders' offense outside of Mendoza was pretty good. Even like Mike Washington had some really big runs. A lot of the running backs showed a lot of potential in some long runs. It was just really the turnovers, and then that pick six by Mendoza really threw them back some. But overall, the fact that they came back in that second half was impressive.
Well, with Kirk Cousins not playing, along like Max and other guys, it's safe to say Kirk will be your starting quarterback at week one.
We got another week. We're playing. I don't want anyone to be comfortable in their job. That's how it should. It should always be that way from all positions. So, we'll just keep going forward.
That was a yes. That was a Kirk Cousins is going to be our starting quarterback. Pretty much for sure. And a lot of that is because, Mendoza, he's young. He's going to grow. He's going to get better. I'm not really overly concerned about him. I doubt Klint is too. But Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback. He has experience. It makes sense for him to start.
Can you talk about the decision, please, Klint, to rest so many starters on defense? What your thinking process is there, please?
Yeah, when that was the plan all along. When we have those joint practices, they get so many reps. That joint practice is the game, and that's the guys understood that going in, and that's how we decided to play it.
Boom. That makes sense too. A lot of coaches really prioritize the joint practices, and if those joint practices go according to plan, they see the defensive line creating good pressure, secondary covering well, linebackers doing what they're supposed to. Like, if they're checking the right boxes, coaches are like, hey, I've seen enough. I don't need anyone to get hurt. Whereas on offense, sometimes you'll see things a little bit differently. But on defense, I like that mentality, as long as they're tackling well, which I don't know how much they were tackling.
What did you see on the pick six, but then also the response to kind of settle down pretty quickly and try to get into a rhythm?
Yeah, the response that's who he is. I think defensively they covered the play really well, and the backer did a great job stepping in front of our check down. I got to go watch it, but the response is what we come to expect from him.
Yeah, honestly, from what I saw, it looked like a bit of a lazy throw, but I like the mentality that the coach isn't too hard on him here. He's like, hey, defense did a great job. We'll see what else we need to fix moving forward. He's not panicking, which is what you want to see from a head coach.
What's the concern level with the number of penalties, especially on special teams?
I'm very concerned. 2 weeks in a row, that's on me as a coach. Most of them, a lot of them on special teams, I think 5 of them. So that's on me to get that cleaned up. I said the same thing last week, so I better figure it out real quick.
See, I love that mentality of that, oh, this is actually serious and a big deal. I don't remember what coach we were watching, but there was one coach who was asked a similar question, and he was more like, not overly concerned. Preseason is where we're going to fix a lot of this stuff, but it's like, it's not really getting fixed. So need to see a little bit more passion, a little bit more energy towards, hey, this is on me. And that, to me, is the way you answer that question.
What are some things that the team needs to clean up in the run game?
I thought our run defense was really good tonight. I thought they took a big step forward as a defense. I thought they did a really good job.
Mike,
I heard that question as if he was asking about the offense, but I might have just missed him say the run defense. And their rushing attack was so good on offense. And on defense, I think he's right. That's why that question in general kind of surprised me, because I didn't think they had any blaring weaknesses there. It was really just the passing attack for Mendoza.
Washington continues to just shine and grind. Would you talk about him, please? I know you haven't seen the film, just what you saw from field level, please.
I see a very talented young man with a bright future ahead of him that is extremely humble and hardworking. So if he just keeps that mindset, he'll keep getting better. He has plenty that he needs to improve on, and he knows that.
What went into playing Jalen Naylor with the starting offense tonight?
Yeah, just was my decision. Yep.
So the question there was, why was Jalen Naylor starting? Which I am a little surprised about. Not that he was starting, but the question, because I don't know who they want to see start in front of Naylor. I've really just kind of assumed he was going to be there. I mean, I know Dante Thornton's a bit banged up, and so he'll be in the mix, but I don't know who else you would have starting over Jalen Naylor. So I get Clint's like, that was just a decision I wanted to make, but I also don't know who else he would put there instead.
You talked about last game how important it was for your young secondary to get reps. Just what did you make of them kind of in preseason game 2 and how they improved?
Yeah, last week we had some problems and penalties. I thought the coverage was sticky today. I got to go watch the film, but this next game we just can't get these young guys enough reps because they're all going to be a part of us. Part of us winning games this year.
Yeah, last week they were getting tore up a bit in that secondary with some long passes, but this week they were a lot better. And see how he's kind of covering up for himself. He was like, see, last week our defense had a lot of penalties. We fixed that. And, low key, he's like, pat me on the back, like I fixed that shit. But, typical answer here.
Whose decision was it?
Mine.
Didn't see Jack Besh out there. Is he dealing with something, or was that just the decision not to play him as well?
No, that was we played him. The ball didn't find him tonight. Yeah, but I think Jack got plenty of reps. This ball didn't find him tonight.
That's embarrassing as a reporter. You should know that.
What'd you like from Aiden in the fourth quarter there?
That's who he is. He's had a really solid camp. He's got limited reps, and when he goes in there, he makes things happen. He's a great leader of the offense. Very calm young man. Not surprised that he had success there at the end of the game.
I hate this answer he keeps giving of that's who he is, but he's not wrong about both of them. They are both like relatively calm, tame individuals who don't really get frazzled too often. So hard to be mad when he's just speaking the truth.
Going back preseason, but you won your first game as an NFL head coach. Does that mean anything to you? Any significance?
It means a lot to our team. We needed to have that game, especially after that first half. We've seen flashes of that from our guys in practice, and for them to go do it, on a Thursday night game, that's very rewarding to see those young men, play their hearts out in the second half.
Going back to Mike, you talked about wanting to have Ashton out there for as many reps as he can have during the regular season. But when Mike continues to flash, is he gonna start to carve out opportunities for himself?
Yeah, guys are earning roles, and we're gathering information. He's a young guy, Mike is, so we're learning more about him. And when guys are having success, then they carve out roles, and that's where he's headed. But I'll say it again, Mike's doing a great job running the ball. We got to keep getting him better in all facets of his game.
Matt Gay has been incredibly consistent this camp, in my opinion, maybe different with you, but can you talk about his performance, please?
Yeah, that's why we brought him here. He's a really hardworking guy. I really love his demeanor. He's all business, and we got another game to go get some more kicks in.
That's
He's a
good.
place kicker.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Coach.
Good stuff. I know some people might be confused with my takeaway of him answering that question about Kirk Cousins being the starter, and he's like, hey, we want to make sure there's competition, and I was just like, yeah, Kirk Cousins is starting. Coaches like to manufacture and pretend like there's a competition, especially when you have a young player involved. They kind of keep their morale up, and that's what he's doing with Mendoza. It's like, hey, you had a tough game. Don't let that, mess with you too much. You're still in the running for this. But realistically, Kirk Cousins is going to start, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. But good stuff, Clint. Fun coach to watch. I'll see you all next time. Like, subscribe if you want to. Peace out.